The World Cup final was over. Spain had won. The trophy was being carried onto the stage, and Leandro Paredes was grabbing Gavi by the throat and wrestling him to the ground. Not a push, not a shove. Wrestling a 21-year-old to the floor at a World Cup final while punches were being thrown around him, and his coach, Lionel Scaloni, was running across the pitch, trying to stop his own players from making the worst night of their careers even worse. This is what Argentina's 2026 World Cup ended with. Not dignity, not grace, not the image of Messi receiving his runner-up medal and acknowledging Spain as worthy champions. The image of Leandro Paredes on top of Gavi on the MetLife Stadium pitch, while FIFA officials scrambled to restore order. And then Paredes posted on Instagram about pride. Welcome back to Robert's Football Talk. I am your host, and today we are going all the way in on Leandro Paredes, the brawl that shocked the world, the red card after the final whistle, the throat grab, the Gavi incident, the Instagram post that said everything except sorry, and the uncomfortable truth about an Argentina team that lost a World Cup final and then made sure everyone remembered them for the wrong reasons. Subscribe right now. No coding, no fluff, just the truth. Let us go. Part 1. What actually happened at the final whistle? Let me take you through exactly what happened in those 2 minutes after the final whistle, because the sequence matters. Spain won 1-0. Ferran Torres, 106th minute. Final whistle. Spain players are celebrating, running toward each other, jumping, screaming. The scenes you see when a team wins a World Cup. And then Molina happened. Nahuel Molina, Argentina's right back, appeared to swing a punch into the stomach of Rodri as the Spain captain ran past him onto the pitch to join the celebrations. Rodri stopped, turned, approached Molina shouting. Molina squared up to him and bumped him in the chest. That was the flashpoint that started everything. Eric Garcia stepped in to separate them, pushing Molina away, and that is when Paredes entered the situation. Not to calm things down, not to pull his teammate away, Paredes pushed Garcia away by the neck, by the throat. A 32-year-old experienced international player grabbing a 24-year-old by the throat in the middle of a World Cup final pitch. And then it escalated further. Paredes and Thiago Almada turned their attention to Gavi, who had come onto the pitch as a substitute to celebrate with his teammates. Paredes and Almada wrestled Gavi to the floor. Multiple punches were thrown. Arms were flying. Players from both sides piled in. Coaching staff ran onto the pitch. Scaloni himself was in the middle, trying to separate his players. The referee, who was still on the pitch, showed Paredes a second red card. After the final whistle. At a World Cup final, Paredes received a red card after the match was already over. And the Argentina squad, who had already turned their backs on Spain during the trophy ceremony, completed one of the most disgraceful exits any team has managed at a major tournament. Alan Shearer said it directly on BBC. He said, "There is no place or space for that." He said if you lose a game of football, you should be graceful and get off the pitch. He said it was very poor from Argentina. Very poor. Those are diplomatic words from Alan Shearer. What the rest of the football world was saying was considerably less diplomatic. Subscribe to Robert's Football Talk right now because the Instagram posts make this story even worse. Part 2. The Instagram post that said nothing about anything that mattered. After the brawl. After the red card. After FIFA launched a formal investigation. After the footage went around the world 1,000 times. After every pundit and every fan on every platform called it disgraceful. Paredes posted on Instagram a carousel of pictures from his World Cup journey. Smiling photographs. Team images. The first picture showed him walking past the trophy during the ceremony, and his caption talked about pride. About this being the best Argentina team ever. About being honored to represent his country. Not one word about grabbing Eric Garcia by the throat. Not one word about wrestling Gavi to the floor. Not one word about the punches thrown. Not one word about the FIFA investigation. Not one word about the image Argentina left on the biggest stage in football. Just pride, and more pride, and gratitude to the fans. Sound familiar? Because Enzo Fernandez did exactly the same thing 24 hours earlier. Red card in the final. Instagram statement. Not one word about the thing that mattered. Just honor and pride and thank you to the fans. This Argentina team has a pattern, and the pattern is this. Make a catastrophic mistake in a World Cup final, then go on social media and talk about how proud you are without mentioning the catastrophic mistake. Hope that people forget. The problem is that the footage exists. The throat grab is on camera. The wrestling of Gavi is on camera. The punches being thrown are on camera. This is not something that can be managed with a pride caption on Instagram. This is something FIFA is investigating, with match reports, with video evidence, with the power to hand out bans and sanctions that follow these players into the next season. Now I want to ask you something. When you saw Paredes grab Garcia by the throat and wrestle Gavi to the floor, what was your first reaction? Drop it in the comments right now. Be honest. Part 3. The Paredes defense that does not hold up. Here is what Paredes and his supporters are saying to defend what happened. And I want to give this argument its fair hearing before I explain exactly why it does not hold up. The argument is that Rodri started it. That Spain's captain ran past Molina in a provocative way during the celebrations. That Argentina's players were already emotionally devastated after losing the final and having Fernandez sent off. That Gavi and other Spain players were celebrating in the faces of Argentina players in a way that was deliberately provocative. That the Spain players were not innocent victims. That what happened was a reaction to provocation. That is the argument. And here is the honest assessment of it. Rodri running onto the pitch to celebrate with his teammates after winning the World Cup is not provocation. That is what winning teams do. Molina swinging at him as he ran past is provocation. Those are two very different things. Gavi coming onto the pitch to celebrate with his teammates after coming off the bench and helping Spain win is not provocation. That is football. Paredes and Almada wrestling him to the floor and throwing punches is an assault on a 21-year-old kid who was celebrating a World Cup victory. The provocation argument collapses the moment you watch the footage without trying to justify what Argentina did. Spain won the World Cup. Their players celebrated. Argentina's players responded with physical violence. That sequence does not have a version where Argentina are the victims. And here is the context that makes the provocation argument even weaker. This is not the first time Paredes has been at the center of post-match aggression. At the 2022 World Cup against the Netherlands, he was heavily involved in the confrontations after the final whistle. His entire reputation in international football is built partly on being the player who never walks away from confrontation. That is not a player who was provoked into uncharacteristic behavior on Sunday night. That is a player who responded to losing exactly the way he always responds to adversity, by making it physical. Subscribe to Robert's Football Talk and share this video because we are getting to the part of this story that has real consequences. Part 4. What FIFA is doing and what Paredes faces next. FIFA has launched a formal investigation. Confirmed, official, published. The investigation covers violent conduct from multiple Argentina players in the post-match incidents. Paredes is at the center of it. Molina is involved. Almada is involved. The footage FIFA has access to is comprehensive. Multiple camera angles. The full sequence from the Molina-Rodri confrontation through to the Paredes-Gavi wrestling match. The potential punishments under FIFA's disciplinary code are serious. Bans from international football. Fines to the Argentine Football Association. Potential bans for players from club competitions if FIFA decides the conduct warrants it. Paredes is 32 years old. If FIFA hands him a significant ban from international football, his Argentina career may effectively be over. A player who won the World Cup in 2022, who was part of 2 Copa America victories, who has spent his entire international career being both a key contributor and the center of post-match controversies. ending his Argentina story not with a graceful exit, but with a red card after the final whistle and a FIFA investigation. And the Argentine Football Association faces potential sanctions too. Argentina's players turned their backs on Spain during the trophy ceremony. That is not violent conduct, but FIFA's code covers unsporting behavior and disrespect to opponents. An AFA that cannot control its players at a World Cup final faces questions from FIFA that go beyond Sunday night. This is what Pride Instagram posts cannot fix. Part 5. The honest truth about what Argentina became at this World Cup. Let me say something honest. Something that every Argentina fan needs to hear. This Argentina team reached the World Cup final. That is an extraordinary achievement. 3 consecutive World Cup finals. The greatest individual player in the history of the sport, producing 12 goal contributions in 7 matches. A goalkeeper who made 11 saves in a single final. A squad that survived Cape Verde, Egypt, Switzerland, and England through a combination of brilliance, resilience, and moments that will be debated for years. That is real. That deserves acknowledgement. And then the final whistle blew, and Fernandez did the finger wag, and Molina swung at Rodri, and Paredes grabbed Garcia by the throat and wrestled Gavi to the floor, and the squad turned their backs on the trophy ceremony, and FIFA launched an investigation. And Paredes posted about pride on Instagram. Here is the truth. You cannot lose a World Cup final with 2 red cards, a post-match brawl, a FIFA investigation, and a trophy ceremony where your entire squad turns their backs on the winners, and then describe the experience as pride on Instagram. Those 2 things are not compatible. Pride is how you carry yourself when you lose. And Argentina did not carry themselves with pride on Sunday night in New Jersey. Messi did. He fought back tears. He received his medal. He went to the Argentina fans in the stands. He acknowledged Spain as worthy winners. He said they were better, to be honest. That is pride. That is how you lose a World Cup final with your dignity intact. Paredes grabbed someone by the throat. There is a reason the images of Messi in tears and Paredes wrestling Gavi are both from the same night. One of them showed the world what it looks like to lose with class. The other showed the world something else entirely. And no Instagram caption about pride changes what the cameras captured. That is the full breakdown. The brawl at the final whistle. The throat grab. The Gavi incident. The red card after the match. The Instagram post that said nothing. The FIFA investigation. And the honest truth about what Argentina chose to leave behind at the 2026 World Cup. 3 questions. Drop all 3 in the comments right now. First, should Paredes be banned from international football for the post-match incidents? Second, do you think Spain provoked Argentina, or was this entirely Argentina's fault? Third, has this brawl damaged Argentina's reputation permanently, or will people forget by 2030? Drop everything below. I read every single one. This has been Robert's Football Talk. Hit that like button. Share this with every football fan you know right now, because this story is everywhere. Subscribe if you are not already here. New videos every single week. I will see you in the next one.